Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Dylan.
We're up rumbling they Badlands right now.
Oh my god. I was not expecting that.
It's cooking on that one.
Yeah.
That's why I was so quiet.
I was going to say how you were really holding that one close to your chest
approaching
there.
Zen.
Yeah, approaching Zen. Yeah, that's a good way of saying that. Before we get started in this episode, I have a couple things that I want to talk about right off the cuff here.
Yeah.
First of all, we have a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into the search bar and type in @Hindsight Studios, you can find our YouTube channel. We have a lot of people recently that have been watching our podcast on YouTube specifically. So if you're coming from that space, go ahead and leave us a like, comment, all that stuff. But more importantly, if you could subscribe, that'd be legit. I'd really appreciate it. It's really awesome to see that there is a lot of traction happening on the YouTube.
Yeah,
I think
somehow.
It's really exciting. I'm happy about it. So anyways, if the previous episode, for some reason, took off with some people, so if there's a new influx of people.
A lot of Predator 2 fans
yes,
out there, apparently.
A lot of Predator 2 fans out there really coming in, which don't blame you. It's a great movie. It's a lot of fun. But if anybody decided to stick around and tune in for the next episode, hello, welcome. This is something we do every week, every Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, Central Standard Time. Doesn't matter. Every Friday morning, you can guarantee there's going to be an episode.
Right. At some point.
At some point during the day. But anyways, like I was saying before, if you could subscribe to the channel and tune back in, that would be awesome. We've been doing this show for a long time. There's a very large back catalog.
Yeah.
And there's no real. I don't think there's going to be any. There's no plans to stop right now. So I mean, I'm going to keep on cooking. Just wanted to say that was awesome. Wanted to preface that right out the gate, while I have everyone's attention here, because I don't. Who knows who's going to stick around to the end. So with that out the way, I want to throw over to Dylan, because I would rather him describe this story to you than myself.
We almost fucking died.
I love how I didn't. I'm going to peer behind the curtain so I'll let all the audience in. I did not prompt you that I was going to talk about this at the top of the show, but we're so tuned into each other's that we're so tuned into each other. We're so locked in that I had to just roll out the red carpet for you, and you just came strutting. Mm-hmm. So please continue.
So go over to the man's place of business.
Yes.
While he's working.
Mm-hmm. I'm having truck problems. My brakes tried to give out on my truck, so I'm like, hey buddy, if you don't mind, would you mind picking me solid? Would you mind just picking me up from work?
Right.
Hey dad, come pick me up from work.
So I'm like, sure. Get over there. We're just hanging out while he's finishing up some extra work he had lying around. And while we're outside, it's pretty overcast, not like storming or anything, but it's been drizzling at the very least. Yeah. And out of fucking nowhere, like 10, 12 feet away, lightning strikes the ground. That is the first time I've heard the impact of a lightning strike, and then the thunder, like, immediately after.
Yeah, you heard the rumbling as the sound was going away from us.
Right. It was like the shot of a cannon.
Yeah, precisely.
Jesus. It was the closest I've ever been to lightning in my life.
I was on the phone with somebody at the time, and while I was walking, I mean, of course, obviously, it scared the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh my God.
Right.
And then the person who I was on the phone with lives maybe a 10-minute drive away from my place of work, who I was on the phone with. So not far at all. And so he was like, I just heard thunder. Was that the lightning? Was that sound in the background? I was like, yeah. It almost it struck very close to us. And then, needless to say, I was like, sorry, I lost my train of thought. And he's like, I don't blame you. You almost got zapped. And I was like, yeah, it felt like it.
Almost got them joules, the gigawatts.
So, anyways, that was our day today so far, which was
near-death experience for the month.
You know, hey, nothing like. I was gonna say something about nothing like feeling alive. Nothing quite gives you the feeling of being alive like a near-death experience.
Right.
So, anyways.
Puts a few things into perspective.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, okay. So, anyways, we made it in. We made it inside. Made it safe. We were
right.
No harm was done, except for that tree. Frick that tree in particular.
No, that tree's fucking dead, bro.
So, anyways, we watched Trigun. Is it Badlands Rumble?
Rumble in the Badlands.
Badlands Rumble.
Yeah.
Rumble in the Badlands. And I remember we talked about whenever we watched Trigun, the anime series.
Mm-hmm. This is way back.
I mean, it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you mentioned this movie, I think.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I think it was because, again, for any long-standing members of the show, you know my thoughts and feelings on the Trigun anime. I liked it. It was fun and enjoyable, but the ending kind of rubbed me the wrong way, just for a number of reasons. And I think the reason why this conversation the reason why you really tell me about this movie is I asked you, is there anything, is there continuation, is there anything else? And you're like, no, there's a movie, and it kind of like takes place in the middle, kind of.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man.
Just like a self-contained story. It's like the Cowboy Bebop movie.
Yeah, exactly. And this movie was great.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie though, because it has been so long since I've been watching Trigun, I kind of forgot like the archetype of the characters and stuff like that, and I forgot the kind of main prerogative of Vash the Stampede, our main character.
Mm-hmm.
Would you describe him as a Bumble King? Is that?
Yeah. I'd say that fits the description perfectly.
He is the Bumble King archetype, but he also he has kind of a pacifist outlook a little bit, where like he doesn't want to kill if he doesn't have to, but he will if he has to.
If he's forced to.
If he's forced to. And I think it's really interesting because obviously if you've watched the Trigun anime, you know that everyone has a bounty on his head and hates him because of the fact that he because he always
described as a walking natural disaster.
Exactly. He always is at the right place at the right time when things go awry, and everyone pins the blame on him.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie is no different at the beginning.
Yeah.
There's a bad guy.
Gasback.
There's a Gasback. What a wacky name.
Professional robber.
Yeah. Because they use the word robber, and he always referred to all his stuff as like robberies. Ethan, Dylan, Chase, and myself played Settlers of Catan over the weekend.
Oh yeah,
this past weekend. And so every time he was like talking about being a robber and like talking about robberies, I was like, the robber,
the thief,
the freaking thief. I think in the game Catan, their name is the robber.
Really?
That's the technical term for that character, for the little gray guy. Every time you roll a 7, he gets I call him bastard.
Right. Call him fuckwit.
Yeah. I hate you. I don't care about your name.
Anytime we rolled a 7, we would either banish him to the desert or just straight up like kill him.
Yeah,
just take
flick
him
over
entirely.
Anyway,
it's just so annoying.
So it reminded me of that a little bit. I felt bad for Chase because Chase kept trying to like hoard resources, and then he would always like someone would roll a 7, and we'd be like,
they'd go,
"You got to give away half your stuff." And he's like, "Well, I have 14 cards," and we're like, "What?" And he's like, "Yep, there goes all my cards."
He plays it economically. He's a mogul, just like in real life.
The thing is, Chase plays Catan like he lives is a simple life.
Yep.
He wasn't going for longest road, biggest army, most settlements.
No, he's just like, I'm gonna get a bunch of rocks.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a bunch of rocks.
Some sheep.
He had
maybe a bit of clay.
I'm almost certain he had his 2 original settlements, and then as we were like conquering the empire, the 3 of us, I think Chase
just had his own little quadrant.
I think he had one more settlement. I think.
Damn.
And I think actually, as far as the rules go, technically he wasn't allowed to place it there, but we didn't realize it, and we're like, just let Chase do it.
You
just
can
let
do
him
whatever
have
you want.
At that point, I was like,
he's just like he's like an isolationist country. Just doing whatever he wants.
But the thing is, I had open trade with him. His country, I was like, hey, I'll give you.
See, you got an bit of excess wood there. Would you mind trading
Yeah.
for some?
And he was always like, yeah, sure.
Whatever.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. Anyways, back to this. Every time our main antagonist was talking about, him being a robber, it just kind of
Treats it like an art form.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in it for the game and nothing else.
This movie starts off hot, and I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts off because I think I would have a problem with the intro if I hadn't watched the anime.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, even though I was a little bit rusty on how the show progresses and like in the kind of the character types and all that stuff, I still knew it deep down.
Oh yeah.
And so whenever like this,
whenever Bash shows up crying on the floor, about his donut being stepped on.
You stepped on my last donut.
Give it back,
please. You're like, it's just like that's what it is. Especially because everyone hypes him up.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's like, I'm so glad. They're all tied up in the corner.
All the clerks from the bank are just like in a corner, bound by rope, and they're just like, hey, it could be worse. Bash the Stampede could have waltzed in here and just destroyed
typhoon.
Everything.
Yeah, exactly. And they all look up at like the wanted poster worth $600 billion. Yeah. And that one guy's like, you know what? It always can be worse. Mm-hmm. And of course, the other guy, like the guy next to him, is like, I'm so glad. What's his name? Gas Back?
Yeah.
He's like, Gas Back. I'm so glad he's here. I'm so glad he's here.
Yep.
But I, as I've told you, and I think I have teased the people of this show specifically, I have talked about writing a story involving characters and involving stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I've been, just like any good artist, I have been, as we consume media and as I read stories and I find little motifs and little things that I like, as like I said, anyone that's ever made a good show or written a story, you take little pieces and you make it your own. I do that I do graphic design work. I've done photography and video stuff. And I do the same sort of thing. You find something, you're like, oh, I really like the look of that. Or I love how this works. Yeah. Or I love how this feels. How do I like take that concept and like try and do it myself? And I'm like, sometimes it works.
Inspiration.
Right. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. And the beginning of this movie specifically was one of those things where I was like, I'll be just taking that as an idea. Like having a character, having a bad guy or whatever, or, or just to kind of walk through what happens. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I almost said his name wrong.
Oh, God.
I know his name is
Gas
Back, but I almost just said Gas Backman. I don't know why.
Gas Backman.
Yeah, Gas Backman. Wow. Just because it reminds me of those like goofy names I always come up with. Right. So anyways, Gasback has his 3 cronies, and they're trying to break into this bank and steal all the money. Right. And he is as the prisoners or hostages in this circumstance have already kind of laid out the groundwork. Is anytime Gasback comes around, he doesn't play around and he'll leave crumbs. That's it. And
always goes after the biggest scores.
Exactly. So they're like, we're already gonna. I mean, it's gone. The bank's gone. Yeah. The bank's
a foregone conclusion.
Exactly. He's here. He's got his cronies here. We're gonna be
nothing we can do.
Yep. When we're all tied up, money's gone. So as they're like in the process of like getting all the money out,
breaking out through this vault,
right? I don't remember
multi-layered defense system.
Yeah, right. Which is hilarious. It's very comedic. And
it's a slow advance.
Right. The spike wall falling on things and anyways. I don't remember his companions' names, the cronies.
Honestly,
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, who cares?
the kind of what I would imagine is kind of like, for lack of a better term, his like second in command in a way. He's kind of this like tall, lanky kind of guy.
Gamble.
Yeah.
From Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah, for real. he kind of comes in to the picture, and he's like trying to do things his own way.
Right. He tries to like pilfer a like pocket watch or necklace from one of the hostages. Gas Baddad just straight up like decks him in the face.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like the way you steal, bitch.
Yeah. Make it intentional.
Right.
Don't be sneaky
Make it
about
flashy.
it. Yeah. A real star scream to his Megatron.
Exactly.
So anyways, he comes, or there's this beautiful sequence where Gas Baddad is about to leave, basically, and then a shot is fired his way and hits him across his right eye. And he's like bleeding, and at first you're like, "Oh man, he's like dead." And and again, for me as a viewer of this movie, I was like, "Oh, Vash is about to, which again, so that's where my mind went. And then when I saw that it was his Gamel,
right. One of his henchmen,
right? I was like, "Oh,
yeah,"
and I was like, "That's really interesting." And then the part that got me, that like the kind of tidbit that I kind of want to take possibly and like make my own into some sort of idea is like, this guy is physically no match for Gas Baddad.
Right.
And doesn't quite have the guts to shoot him. And so,
because he's scared.
Exactly. So Gas Baddad sees his opportunity and like flicks a coin his way. Or I think Vash did that. There is a distraction, and in the process of that happening, the gun fires but misses, which gives Gas Baddad just enough opportunity, like to get him by the collar,
scruff, and just start flicking him.
I mean, I may as well have been just punching him in the face, is what it felt like
physically disfiguring his face.
Yes, and then if that wasn't enough, like you have the other two cronies. We're
just standing there watching
in
fear.
Horror. Yeah, they're just like, and it's like it really sells Gas Baddad's character.
Yeah,
and at that point, like there's this really cool the cool thing for me, or the thing that made it cool in that way is even a good character, if betrayed by a close friend in that regard, would be understandable for you to kind of take extreme measures.
Right.
In my opinion, any kind of, in a normal character arc, if like your best friend was to betray you in some way, or shoot at you or to potentially kill you, and then threaten to kill you and take your place in some way, like even a good character, I was like, if he goes off a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
and I think that's an interesting character dynamic. I wouldn't say flaw, but just a human element of it. And then even more so when it's like the head honcho bad guy, the antagonist.
Yeah,
it's like you marred his eye, and then you still proceeded to threaten him, and taking his position. I was like, bro, you ain't shit.
Right.
And that was the part. Is like there's a certain point in time where he has that guy on the ground with his, because in the altercation, the crony stole his gun in the process, like pickpocketed. So he's unarmed when that whole interaction happens, which is why there's this kind of like stalemate. So whenever he saw the opportunity, grabs him, starts like hitting him, and then grabs his gun back and knocks the other gun away.
Oh, yeah.
And at this point, he has him on the ground with like his foot on his neck, with his gun pressed up against his head. And of course, in this, again, for me, this this beautifully human moment of like, don't kill me. It's like there's like the pleading of a man
begging for his life,
begging for his life, when it's like, bruh, I get that that's probably just like a human reaction, but like you put yourself in this situation, and the fact that like I said, the big bad guy is like standing there with his gun there, like I don't think he said this, but the phrase that came from me was like, give me a reason why I shouldn't end your life right now, because like right now, like anyways, like that's the whole altercation of like, man, how unique that situation is. It's like, for me at least, where I was like, that's just wild. So anyways, But obviously, to kind of add a little bit of brevity to that very, like for me, emotionally heavy moment where it's like, what's going to happen? Because I was like, yo, we're about to see this guy die right here. Yeah. Vash comes out of nowhere and is like, you're stepping on my donut. Right. Ah! You're like, wait, what is happening?
Right.
And then, of course, the hostages in the corners like do a little like, huh? Like looking over.
Back and forth between the wanted poster
and
his face. And they come to the realization that, oh my fucking God.
We're all gonna die.
Exactly.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think and then that's when I locked in.
Yeah.
And I was like, I forgot what Trigun is, and this is what Trigun is.
Oh yeah.
And it's fun, and I love it, and I think it's really interesting. And so, anyways, that starts off our adventure.
Right.
And may I say,
you may.
There's a lot of great characters in Trigun, but the new characters they added, I think they told a really great story with them.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's wonderful.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. What was I guess like what are some of the stuff that stuck out to you about? Because I know the first thing that really like tuned me in was the altercation on the train bus transport thing.
Right.
The whole altercation between Amelia and the whole like all that stuff and like Vash, like
all the goons.
Like there's this for me, there's this level, at least in the movie, I don't quite remember in the show, but I also kind of do, is like it's almost like Vash is a Bumble King,
right?
Where he really does just like things happen.
The fool.
He plays the fool, but then sometimes I feel like he controls it.
Oh yeah.
Whereas like there sometimes I think he is just like, well, I don't know, and then there's sometimes where he's like,
but I do know.
But I do know though.
Right.
and I feel like in that interaction there's that little bit where I think they wrote it or it was delivered beautifully where it felt like that. I could tell he was like riding that dial. For those of you at home that can't see, I'm almost like I'm turning like a knob or whatever. It's like
the switch on and off.
Just turning it ever so. It may be at 0 sometimes, but then he'll like just turn it up to like 4 or 5, where he's like, "Oh, whoops!" And then of course like he ends up like accidentally quote unquote beating the shit out of somebody, and you're like, but it feels a little bit intentional. And because of the circumstance with Amelia getting harassed, and he's like, I think he does kind of have some sort of like, I think he's a good guy deep down.
Right.
But then he's like, I don't want to,
Yeah. And
so he interjects himself in his Vash way. And I think it was really cool.
Stumbles.
To see that. Yeah, quote unquote stumbles. So I love that.
I think one of my favorite parts is after they get to town and they go to the bar, like the saloon, what have you, they meet up with Meryl and Millie.
Yeah.
And as soon as a bar fight breaks out, Vash immediately starts going around to everybody and just steals all their ammo. Because he knows at some point somebody's going to pull a gun and try to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And as soon as one person pulls out the gun, everybody fucking pulls out the gun.
Of course. It's like cowboys.
Right. So, of course, everybody's confused as to why there's no ammunition in their weapons. And then we just cut to a shot of Vash under a table just holding all of the bullets. Not even in
like a chipmunk with all his acorns.
Yeah. It's
great.
Ridiculous.
I love it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And yeah. So in this movie specifically, we get introduced to this new character, Amelia, like I talked about. And at first, I didn't really think anything of it. But then the more we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to spoil that.
Right.
I love the dynamic between her and Vash. It's really cool.
Yeah.
She is very much a lone wolf, don't want to deal nothing about it. And he's just trying to be nice, and he's also trying to,
do what he does. With every pretty woman he comes across.
Of course. Don't we all, though? Or at least I do. I'll own up to it. Like,
Jesus.
I'm playing. So anyways, he's trying to play his hand,
Mm-hmm.
and she's not having none of it. But then, of course, their kind of reluctant relationship, friendship, sort of blooms out of that, which I think is really cool.
Right.
Well, what is the guy with the cross? His name, the cross weapon.
Nicholas,
dude.
Wolfwood.
Mm-hmm. I think his character's just. I was gonna say cool, and the more I thought about it, I was like, I'm not talking about like. How do you put this? When I say a character is cool, I'm like, oh, I like that character. I love this about that character. I love this about it. When I think of Wolfwood, Nicholas, I'm like, he's just cool.
Right.
Like that's what I mean.
He's
like
got the shades. He's got the suit.
He always has like some sort of disfigured, crumpled up cigarette in his mouth, and I'm like, boy, you can't get a straight cigarette to save your life, save your life, man. And I just love his cross gun,
and the crucifix cannon.
Yes, but from also like, being raised in a religious household and like knowing religious iconography and like knowing some of that stuff, like the idea of carrying your cross, like carrying your sins, like that's that's your burden to bear, and like to have him like the physical representation of his weapon is just this massive cross he carries around is like, I mean, that's kind of cool,
plumb full of mercy.
It's kind of badass, not gonna lie. So, anyways. He made a return.
Oh, yeah.
And I just thought...
all the familiar faces.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Amelia is still my favorite.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
She's the tall lady? Yeah. Big old cannon.
That big-ass gun, dude.
Big-ass
Jesus.
Gun. I mean, Dylan is a simple man. And he likes simple things. And that's okay. Right. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Chances are, if you're big and or made of metal, you're good in my book.
If you're a big woman that carries on a big gun,
even better. Or a big sword.
Yeah, or I mean, hey, you got a big weapon. Yeah,
right.
You're right. You're okay in my book. That's great.
On the A list.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I love their kind of like I forgot how much I liked them in the show.
Oh yeah.
Because they feel like Vash's cleanup crew in the show,
right?
Whereas this, they feel like
as
a little
handlers.
Exactly, they feel a little bit more like they're, kind of the side plot in a good way, in a fun way,
right?
So, but basically, the premise of this movie, after that whole intro we talked about, is that that scummy crony that tried to betray Gas bag. I almost said Gasman this time. I'm just gonna follow through with it.
Yeah, Gasman.
Yeah, Gas Backman. Gasman.
Right.
I'm definitely not getting it right from here on out now.
Right. He's out for vengeance.
Right.
After he was betrayed by these three cronies who were able to get away with that score they got from that big ass bank.
Yeah.
And are now living it up. But one by one, he's just taking them down.
Yep.
Initially, he's like, I probably would have liked to just take him out immediately as soon as I found them, but I figured it would be more satisfying to wait until they reach their peak and then just take everything away. So I can see the look on their face.
And how good is that? I mean, bad.
Right.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
When I say that, I mean like, how human is that? In my eyes,
right.
I'm like that's what I think, like a good character.
The epitome of eye for an eye.
Exactly. There ain't nothing like. I mean, yes, I've been betrayed, and you're right. Yeah, it'd probably be satisfying to just like take them out in one fell swoop. But I'm the bad guy.
Right.
Let me wait till they get to their peak. Let me watch.
Just gonna let them marinate for a bit.
Let them build Rome, and I'll come around and burn it all down.
Right.
I don't know. I love that in a villain character. I love that. I love whenever a villain character like has that level of like humanness. Makes it feel real.
Right.
Because in life, there's no good and bad people. There's just people that make good and bad decisions,
Right.
And do that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah.
they have their fortune.
They're
all yucking up
they're
in their
pretty.
mansion. Yeah.
One dude had a casino. I think he was the first one that he got, but not shortly after, he's hitting up the other one, and then the third and final with his own big ass statue in the center of town.
Yeah, big old brass
big
statue.
shot. Hires nothing but bounty hunters to just hang out in the town in case he shows up.
Right.
And oh man, when he does,
it's great.
It's ridiculous. He brings out this fucking like cargo transport with the inflatable like lady from the casino he tore down.
Yeah.
Just as a slap to the face. Busts down the gates and just starts going on a rampage, trying to get to his mansion for all intents and purposes. So over the course of his warpath that he cleanly sweeps through like most of these bog standard goons.
Bog standard goons.
Dude, I'm talking like absolute slime of the crop.
Yeah.
Ain't no cream up in this bitch.
Nah.
Just straight up garbage one after the other. Which is insane because some of these dudes look fucking nuts.
Yeah, they kind of look
fairly certain one of them was just a giant that had a Gatling gun for an arm. He just walks around the corner like it's nothing.
I think
one
of
of
them had
Jesus Christ, that man's like 3 stories tall.
I think one just had a hatchet, a big old man with a hatchet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you going to do? So
don't mind me.
Yeah. He busts out his new like cybernetic arm.
Yeah, which is kind of sick, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's like I'm pretty sure it's like a glove weapon, or at least it looks like one, but I don't think we ever get to see if there's anything underneath. However, he busts out the Tesla coil.
Yeah.
Like electroshock attack.
This glove hand thing has like a middle portion in the forearm that can flip around and do different things.
The barrel orb.
Yeah, exactly. If it's facing one, like if it tilts up and faces one way, it's a Gatling gun. If it flips 180 degrees, it's like a cannon. Yeah. And if it lays down and like locks in, it's a Tesla coil.
Right.
Badass.
Triple threat.
Hell yeah.
Easily one of the coolest parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he is just obliterating everything.
Oh, yeah.
He takes down, like, full watchtowers with these guys in them.
Yeah.
Entire buildings, balconies, roofs. It's ridiculous. Now, just before he gets to the gate of the quote-unquote mayor's place.
Yeah. Mayor.
Right. Vash is there with a few other goons just behind some sandbags.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, like, stopping him dead in his tracks. Fires off a few shots that just, like, are powerful enough to, like, move his arm so that he can't fire or just, like, keep him in place. Unfortunately, after a chance encounter in the desert, Gasback just so happened to pick up Wolfwood. And after that, he agreed to be his bodyguard for the duration of this quest until he gets to the front door of this scumbag. And he holds true to his word.
Yeah.
For the most part. Like, I mean, he does everything he needs to do, and as soon as he gets through the front door, he's done.
Yep. I'm done.
Right.
Or what is it? My contract is complete or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
My obligation's fulfilled.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. So, it was a brief little standoff between Wolfwood and Vash, which was another one of my favorite parts of the film, because they don't fight often, if at all.
No.
But if they do, it's going to be a fucking rip snorter.
I've never heard that.
Rip snorter?
Rip snorter?
Yeah. Rip snorting?
Yeah.
Alternatively.
It's going to be, okay. Snorting some rips, guys. Don't mind me.
Right. It's the hoedown hootenanny vernacular that I bust out every so often.
Gotcha.
I'm not proud of it. Don't quote me on it, please. Anyway, as soon as Gasback gets into the mansion...
I only speak in shenanigans.
Sorry. As soon as he gets into the mansion, he makes a beeline for his room. After which the other two cronies have, like, come for shelter.
Yeah.
And they hear him coming. He's like, oh, God, oh, fuck.
No,
so he grabs a gun and just shoots the other two in the leg. And he's like, look, see, I punished them for you. Please spare me.
No.
And, of course, Gasback's like, you fucking piece of shit.
Piece of
There's
shit.
no hope for you.
Nah.
So he just walks up slowly to him, Still has a gun trained on him, and he's just like he's about to do the dirtiest deed you ever did see.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not all.
No.
Amelia just busts on through in addition to Vash, and it's a 3-way standoff.
At this point, I personally have realized that as the movie has progressed, I've noticed that Gas Backman has a very strikingly similar hat to Amelia.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. It's not like 1-to-1,
Right.
but there's just this unique shape to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a black hat, almost cowboy adjacent, and there's like a metal plaque in the middle of it. And they're different enough, but I made note of it. Being the person that I am, was like,
there's something similar between these two.
Their hats are very akin, wink, wink, to each other.
Right.
Continue. Sorry.
Throughout the film, Amelia has dropped like little bits and pieces of her backstory,
which I think is so well done.
Mm-hmm.
It's just enough to really get her story and like tantalize you as it goes along, as like, who she is and what, like, or the reason why she's fighting or going after Gas Man is because her mother died,
right?
And
because of him,
quote unquote, right? So,
and as the fight goes on, the main crone, the dastardly ne'er-do-well, pulls a switch
in the weirdest escape pod I've ever seen.
Yeah, he grabs onto a vase, and it just goes out the window and then launches,
jettisons him out
several feet into the air, and he's just out of there.
And like a real crony just goes,
right.
And you're like, okay, you're
straight
really,
up Skeletor type shit.
It's real shitbag behavior. Yeah.
So, not to be outdone by a simple escape attempt, Gasback is got some explosives at the ready.
I thought you said gas bag. Sorry.
Anyway,
my bad.
He blows up a set of explosives that he had around the plant. Now, for those who don't know, a plant is basically a giant-ass light bulb that provides electricity to any kind of settlement that happens to be constructed around it. Now, naturally, these things are very important, and you do not fuck with them.
Precisely.
Gasback, however, being the showman that he is, decides to just blow it loose.
Yep.
And
wheel it down.
It careens through the city and ends up hitting his statue, the big-ass, like, I want to say...
It's brass.
Yeah, brass statue that he made of himself.
That spins.
Yeah. For God knows why.
Just twirls.
Busts that thing down. And that's like the final straw. It's like, this is where I take everything from you.
Yeah.
And that's the look on your face that I was hoping to see.
What a good line. Because as the, like you're saying, careening, as the statue falls and the head of the statue, which is, again, shaped in the likeness of this crony we keep talking about, rolls down the hill, and everything else is coming crumbling down with it, and he's just like, he just has that look of like, I'm in the process of losing everything. That's when Gasback is like,
damn right.
That's that look I was
This is what
for.
you get.
That's what I was wanting. I've been waiting 20 years for that. And it's like, oh, dude, it's so good. It feels good in a bad way. You're like, I shouldn't feel good, but hell yeah.
Right.
It's almost like I don't like I'm not congratulating the bad guy, because that's not a good thing to do. But at the same time, because there's like
I ain't gonna argue with the results.
There's an even worse guy. It's like, enemy is my friend.
Right.
In this
I'm
instance.
all about motherfuckers getting their just desserts.
Exactly. That's exactly what that was. Now, I mean, like I said, at the expense of other people as well in this instance, because a lot of people that live in that town.
Yeah, no, it's
so it's not good.
It's a dire situation to be in.
Right.
He basically makes it to where the plant rolls into that big ass cargo ship that he busted into town with, and then he just takes it, runs off.
Yep.
But not before Amelia and Vash followed by Wolf would
Yeah.
give chase. And at this point, Amelia's dead set on like, I'm gonna kill Gasback.
Oh yeah.
I'm out for blood.
Yeah.
And of course, Vash is like, but wait,
But don't
do that.
Yeah. But don't do
That's
that.
bad.
Stop. No, stop. Don't.
Right. Now, in the process of this, he's trying to talk her down, try to explain like, if you end up damaging that plant, you're not gonna be able to take that back.
Yeah.
And she yells for him to watch out because the sheriff,
Yeah, quote unquote.
yeah,
Who's now turned evil.
was in on the whole robbery to begin with. Takes a shot and just so happens to just add a new hole to Vash.
Yep. Hit him in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Falls away. Oh.
Right. All slow-mo.
And in true like Mad Max fashion, they're all like, at high speeds in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
So, and he's standing on top of a vehicle when it happens. So, like, he just like, he flies and everyone else is just, moving away as he's just tumbling in the sand.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, why no?
Yeah. So they immediately
Yeah.
like turn around. Wolfwood is already like got a rope
Oh,
at
yeah.
the ready. He's tied it around him. He just throws it back behind Amelia and just says, "Tie me into something." And he jumps into this sand pit to try to get him out of there. But all he's able to recover are his glasses.
And that's what I'm talking about, like cool guy behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Just a guy just
On
like,
sight.
I'm just like, he right. He jumps out of his vehicle, ties the rope, and just throws it behind him and says, "Tie me to
Lifeguard type
something."
shit.
Yeah. Hops in this sinking sand and just does it. And it's like, just the fact, like, the act of him just like throwing it is just like, fix that. It's
Yeah.
like, hell yeah, dude.
Mhm.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But unfortunately, Vash is nowhere to be found.
Yep.
So they assume he's dead.
Sunk.
Yeah. Wolfwood takes it pretty hard.
Yeah.
Ends up just brooding in his apartment. Destroys his
I mean,
mini fridge.
Right. The thing is, like, it's like that unlikely allies kind of situation. Like, they're friends in a unique way.
Right.
They probably have their disagreements, and they're probably not the
Oh,
best,
definitely.
not perfect for each other.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, but I don't want him to die, though.
Of course not.
I may not like the guy, but I
Right.
don't wish him to be dead. I
Mhm.
mean, I still
He
want to
calls him Needle Noggin.
Yeah, Needle Noggin.
They've got a fucking nickname.
I mean, hey, it's not. That's a.
That's
catchy
how you
name.
know.
Yeah, it's good stuff, and I love
Mhm.
it. So,
But yeah.
Yeah.
After Amelia sees the devastation wrought by the absence of the plant in this poor little town.
even before that,
Mhm.
like this is where like her character development is like so cool because she's so singularly focused and doesn't understand why Vash is like taking the high road or like taking this kind of pacifist route where he doesn't want to kill Gasback specifically, but really anyone.
Mhm.
And she's like, I just don't get it. Why? Like I
Right.
don't like this. Doesn't make any sense. Like if you just would have killed him, like you wouldn't have died. Like it's not worth
Could
it.
have saved a lot of people a lot of trouble.
Right. And it's like, not only that, it's also like it is that. And then at the same time, she's also like, you can claim not to kill anybody all you want.
But suddenly it's okay for you to die.
Yeah, exactly. But whenever you're dead, to me, it's not like,
No big deal.
yeah, right. It's like that's so. Anyway, so it's cool because again, at the same time, you got like you're talking about, you have Wolfwood over here who's just kind of like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Fuck it.
Yeah, and then she's over here like, why? I don't. And of course, and it's great. But then
She's like, I don't get it, but like harder.
yeah, but like hard, but like emotional about it.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, she gets back into town,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, hysteria.
Yeah.
You got people that are on
Right,
life
old
support
folks that
systems.
need help.
Yeah. Young people that are like
the brink of death.
ill or whatever. And of course, everyone's worried about like water and like
Electricity.
Yeah. Is that going to, all the logistics that go with like an entire city going out of power? It's like, what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm. Upon seeing this, she realizes that because of her singular and dogged focus on just trying to kill Gasback,
Yeah.
she's lost sight of how important that thing is to the people of this town, and how she more or less had a hand in its.
Yeah, and if she would have continued to be reckless and like something was to happen to it, like
Only
Vash
would've
was
made it
saying,
worse.
it only would have made it worse. You would have, let's say hypothetically, you did kill him, but then you damaged the what is it called again?
The plant.
The plant in the process. And it's like,
you'd have been
yeah.
secondly responsible for like multiple deaths.
Yeah. And it's like at that point, it's not worth it at that.
Right.
And
there's already so little people living on the surface of this planet
yes.
in such a dire like circumstances as it is.
Yeah. And I really love that. I love that for her characters, what I mean. Of like that's that moment where she has that in the biz, we call that the aha moment.
Right.
Or the revelation, where she has that like all of a sudden she's standing there outside of the crowd and is like having this like revelation of like, man, wow,
falls to her knees
and is like, I'm no better than they are. And it's like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
I love that. And this is what I'm talking about. And I've said this before. Great, well-written, strong female character.
Right. A good character that just so happens to be female.
I would argue main character of the movie.
Yeah.
Vash is obviously like the brand. He's the guy.
Right.
We got all of our cameos.
But we're focusing on like her
But
story.
like the story is Amelia's story. And I love that.
Yeah.
She has weaknesses. She's got flaws, but she's also a badass.
Right.
Not afraid to put people in her place. She goes out kicking and screaming quite
Oh,
literally at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
And it's like, especially in a world dominated by these like scummy men.
Right.
And even though Vash is there to help her, I think I still don't think it's
feels like it strikes a good balance.
right. It doesn't feel disingenuous or it doesn't feel scummy in that regard. Coming from Vash's place, maybe a little bit, but you know, that's his character.
That's just how he is.
but she still stands her ground and is still. I don't know. I just there's again in the grand scheme of things, there are probably flaws with it. But the more I looked at it, the more I was like, this is what I'm talking about.
Right. It's a decent example.
Having lost your mother, knowing who your father is, wink, wink, and then also like hating him, and that's like your whole desire, and then feeling the humanity of it all, like, oh,
yeah,
beautiful. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. And in that moment where like when all that was happening, she had that realization of like, I'm no better than they are. I'm like,
it's a good moment.
So true, so true. Because I feel like again, it's that human element of like I feel like we've all maybe not to that degree, but I feel like I have been in that scenario where I'm like, you know, I get pissed off because like people are gossiping and talking about people, and then I catch myself and I'm like, bro, I'm no better sometimes,
right?
And that sucks. And I need to do better. I need to look at myself and realize that I am a human as well with flaws, and I need to do better.
There you go.
Exactly. And that's all you can do sometimes is just love people, dude. Love people.
That's Vash's whole MO.
Right. In a weird, just about way, which is cool. And I love that. So, with that being said, she has renewed purpose in some way.
Right. And she's like, I got to get that fucking plant back.
Yeah. I got to do what I got to do.
So, she seeks help from Mr. Wolfwood, who is currently lounging by his windowsill, just smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
That same wonky piece of shit.
Yeah.
That he's been carrying around for God knows how long.
That poor guy. I like to believe that he actually smokes the cigarettes all the way through. He just can't, he just has a...
He just pulls out the pack and it's just
crumpled
up.
Shit. Yeah, exactly. He has the same pack of cigarettes, but they're just crumpled to shit. Which, I mean, hey, you know, with the kind of work that they do, I'm not surprised.
Right.
I just think it's funny. He just always has one. I'm like, man, poor guy can't catch a break.
Fucking chain smoker.
Not even that. It just can't even catch a straight one. I wouldn't be surprised. If I feel like he pulled out a straight one, I'd be like, something's wrong.
Like, where the fuck did you get that?
Yeah.
How much did you pay for that?
You got a pristine straight cigarette? Didn't know.
Jesus Christ.
Something's not right here.
That's real?
Yeah. So anyways.
Right.
Yeah, he's brooding and you know.
She walks up from the town square and is just like, hey, you want to come work for me for a bit? And he's like, give me all your money.
It's a down payment.
Right. And she throws him like a nickel. And then
a proverbial quarter.
Right,
just
he catches it and he's like, okay, throw him breakfast too.
Yeah.
It goes against my principles to miss breakfast.
Yeah.
So as soon as breakfast is over the morning after, they immediately march for wherever Gas Baddad has this plant stashed.
Yeah.
I don't know how they found out, but they're there now. Now, the rest of his goons automatically have like traps and shit set up. They've got rocket launchers, machine guns, everything under the sun.
Because they know for a fact they're going to get hunted down by somebody.
Now, Mr. Wolfwood with his crucifix cannon
Hell yeah.
is a multi-weapon platform.
Oh, I love
which
it
functions
so much.
at once as a heavy machine gun. I
Mhm.
wouldn't dare to say anti-material rifle,
Right.
and also a rocket launcher.
If you would imagine the shape of a cross,
Mm-hmm.
and you were to, and this cross is every bit the size you are,
Right.
and at that top intersection, like there's a longer portion at the bottom and a shorter portion at the top.
Mm-hmm.
He is able to, at that intersection, hold it in between his hands like a grip,
Right.
and hold the long end out, and that's where the gun comes out of at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then in one swift motion, I mean, so clean, he just brings his arm up and just puts the long part on his shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the short portion, like where I would consider it the head of the cross to
Right.
be, opens up and it's a cannon.
Yep.
And it's like, oh hell
It's
yeah,
so cool.
It's so cool. It's like such a cool design. And I was
Right.
like, he just swings it over his shoulder and then just launches this rocket out at it. And I'm like,
Mhm.
hell yeah. I'm a simple guy and I just love simple things.
Right. Not only does it function as a weapon on its own, but it also holds weapons.
Exactly.
In both arms of the cross, it holds, I want to say, at least 6 pistols each.
I love it.
And they're just rattling around in there.
Hell yeah.
Motherfucker's a walking arsenal.
I love it.
So he's immediately just laying waste to these goons like
Strapped.
no issue.
Oh, it's also bulletproof, by the way, in case
Yeah.
you didn't know.
It acts as a shield.
Yeah.
He's somehow able to just withstand a barrage of
Yeah.
bullets.
Yep.
The kind of shit you wouldn't even have time to blink in,
No.
and he's just taking it no problem.
And then, of course, in this like super cool guy fashion, he's like, he's commanding the situation.
Mhm.
He's like, we're gonna drop down to the right, and you're gonna just book it out
Right,
of here.
I'm gonna get you a window out of this.
Right,
joint.
right. And on the count of 3, and that's what they do. They just like on the count of 3, they like fall over to the ground while he's still
Mhm.
guarding them both, and she's able to sneak out and get
Make it to the barge
exactly, get behind them.
where the gas back waits.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is where the hard-hitting developments start to
Oh, man.
come to light a bit. We know that she's been pursuing this man for years now.
Yeah.
What we don't know is why, other than the fact that he is somehow responsible for her mother's death.
Right.
She doesn't explain that until the showdown between him and Vash concludes.
Yeah.
After the tertiary, dastards have been taken out, Vash and Wolfwood are able to hop onto the scene and even the playing field a bit.
And for the first time, there's this really serious moment that you feel from Vash, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he's serious most times, but there's this we're talking business now,
Mm-hmm.
is what it feels like, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
He comes about, and everyone's
And
like,
Gasback immediately is just like, you
and me.
we're settling this right here and now.
Yep.
For whatever reason, he's stuck to this dice metaphor.
Yeah.
Where back when he saved him in his initial bank heist,
Yeah.
where he was betrayed initially, he he uses the metaphor of casting a die,
Mm-hmm.
where rather than sticking to your own set of dice, you cast mine that day.
Mm.
Instead of letting me finish those dudes off, you just completely messed up the whole situation, let him get away, and then
Right.
put me on that quest for vengeance.
Yep.
So, time to find out whether or not you made the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go at it.
Oh yeah.
Gasback flips a coin,
Oh yeah.
and as soon as it lands is when the duel is supposed to start.
Right.
They're just circling each other at first. As soon as that coin lands, it is immediately one-sided as all hell.
Oh man, it's.
I don't even think Gasback is able to get out maybe a few shots,
Yeah.
but not even a full barrage.
Nah.
Vash is just hitting him with these pinpoint strikes.
It
Gets him once in the fucking thigh
Yeah.
on his left leg, and then whenever he tries to fire again, he just gets him in the shoulder.
Oh,
And after that, we're fairly certain at that point he's incapacitated, but not before he uses that whole like steam propulsion thing for his arm to try to line up another shot.
Yeah.
And then Vash targets some of his ammunition and just it explodes like right in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've seen this man to be of a sturdy build.
Right.
So I'm sure a point blank explosion isn't going to be the end of him.
Right.
It'll definitely knock him on his ass, that's for sure.
Yeah. He's laying
Bullet
down.
wounds aside.
The thing is, this, like, I loved this fight because it was not drawn out.
Right.
But it was
snappy.
So satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were talking about. From Vash's perspective, there was not a lot of shots. He has a 6-shooter,
right?
Like a revolver,
a hand cannon,
and a big one. But I mean, like he's only got 6 shots for right now.
Right. This dude is the revolver ocelot of this world.
And the cool thing is that just like it sticks true to the ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 6 shots, and he's not gonna just like bang, 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 and just like the reload, bang, bang, bang. That's not. In this situation, that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
And like Dylan was saying, whenever they're doing this run around, the coin drops and there's immediately shots from
right. He's either dodging any shots that are made towards him or just completely negating them with his own like barrage.
Yeah.
Like he'll just fire off a few rounds to just stun him for a second because he fires like you cannot beat Vash in a gunfight.
No.
Like you'll just be overwhelmed immediately.
Yeah.
Because of how fucking fast he is.
But I'm pretty sure the first shot that is fired from Vash is the one that hits him in the thigh.
Yep.
And so, you talk about so satisfying. There's so many bullets. It's action. You're like, oh my god, the tension, kind of the coin drops, shit's going down, and then like bang, the first shot you hear from it, and and you see it hit him in the thigh, and he just like flips over, rolls, and you're oh shit.
Yep.
And so at that point, like that's what sets the tone. We were like, I don't know, buddy.
Oh yeah, no, there's no way.
Yeah. And again, the same thing happens again.
You.
Second shot hits him in the shoulder. Again, it just feels very definitive. Like we're not like it feels like there's a lot of play on one side and then there's business on the other.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it feels like. And I love that. It's so cool. But it's also, it sticks true to his character where he's not just like going straight for kill shots.
Oh, no.
He's like, I'm gonna stop you.
The goal is to incapacitate.
Right. And if you're gonna keep fighting, I'm gonna keep trying to stop you. But that's it. So anyways. Yeah. But like you were saying before, this is where that heavy development comes in.
Right.
After the ammunition explodes, he's laying on his back. He's just like, ugh.
Oh, but he ain't done yet.
Oh, no, he ain't done yet. He's bleeding and he's bad, but he ain't done yet.
He busts out the Tesla coil and just tries to obliterate him like right off the bat.
Right.
But our girl Amelia just so happens to have the perfect counter to this. Now, in these scant flashbacks that we've seen from her childhood when her mother is basically on her deathbed, she mentions like a box that she saw her carrying around every so often. Whenever she asked her what it was, she just said it was a very special gift and that she'll tell her when she's older.
Yeah.
That gift just so happened to be a gauntlet that completely negates this electric field that his arm is able to generate. So we find out that was a gift from him to Amelia's mother, which was his wife.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was legitimate or anything like that, but he didn't even realize that she had a kid.
Yeah. He left before she was like significantly pregnant.
Right.
But he was like, I'm gonna go continue being a robber, and she's like, I can't do that.
Right.
And so he's like, all right, and
take the money, take the gauntlet, you'll be set for life.
And that's where my compassion opened up a little bit, and I was like, I liked Gasback as a character.
Yeah.
As a bad guy, as a villain character, ooh, I love a well-written villain.
Oh yeah, he's fun.
And to see that interaction where he's like, if you're not going to go with me, I'm still going to take care of you. I'm going to leave you enough money to
you're good.
It's like
you'll never want for anything.
And it's like, oh, I can get behind that. it's not perfect,
Right.
and that's not a ideal situation.
He neglected to factor in that where they were residing, everyone knew who he was, what he did.
And she was kind of with him in a way.
So, of course, nobody's very sympathetic to the wife of an infamous robber.
Exactly.
So whenever disaster strikes and they are robbed, nobody bats an eye.
Yeah.
And they're just left to rot.
And this is what I'm talking about. This is that, like, oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Amelia, you're justified in feeling that feeling of, like, you abandoned us.
Right.
And nobody wanted to be around us because of who we were associated with.
Right.
How could you do that to us? And then there's this, there's this lovely moment where it feels like he's at his deathbed as well, where he's like, he's expanded all he can.
Oh, yeah.
He's expended everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's shot a couple
done.
times. And at this point, I'm like, is he going to make it? We don't know.
Right.
He's laying there and he's asking, like, did she die?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and like,
he didn't even know.
He didn't even know. And then not only that, it's also like she further expands upon the fact that, like, no one wants to be involved with, like, the wife and the daughter of this infamous robber.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he says a whole lot, but with the show of the character, from what I felt, and this may be just me projecting, it felt like there was remorse.
Yeah.
There was this,
just
like,
quiet introspection.
Yeah, it's like, I messed up.
I fucked up.
I messed up bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, dude.
Yep.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, there's also Amelia fires off a shot. And I thought that she, like, shot him and just...
she's got him in the crosshairs.
Yeah. At that point, like, yeah, this she's, about to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And she fires a shot. And then, of course, her gun's in the air.
Right.
Almost as if... And that we don't see the actual connecting blow.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like she has her hand in there. Like, the recoil just blew it up. And she's just, like, standing there.
Yeah.
After the recoil and just holding the gun in the air. And then it kind of cuts back to Gas Back, and his eyes are closed. His eyes are closed.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I still thought that she killed him right there.
Oh, no.
And he's just like, his eyes were closed, and you're like, damn, either he's dead or he's deep in contemplation.
Right.
And I think it's the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
she
like,
took a page from Vash's book.
Yep,
Decided to live and let live.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Oh yeah.
That's the conclusion of that, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other, like, credit sequences and things that happen. You get to see that Gasback's not dead. They're all, arrested and all
On
that
his
kind of
way
stuff.
to prison.
Everyone goes their separate ways, and then Vash and Wolfwood are, yucking it up in the
taking
desert.
a jaunt through the desert, trying to figure out what they're going to do next.
Yeah. So I was a little confused. What was that? There's a poster that happened, and then there was a bunch of, like, discussions about, do you know that person or whatever?
Right. So the clipping of the newspaper that lands on Vash's face, he evidently recognizes the two goons that have apparently broken out of jail.
Uh-oh.
And he immediately, like, upon seeing this, shifts direction and starts heading towards, like, a completely different area.
Yeah.
And Wolfwood is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Don't tell me you know these fucking... Where are you going?
Yeah. We're supposed to go this way. What do you...
Yeah.
What do you... No, stop. Wait.
You don't know these guys. Please tell me you don't know these guys. So...
Good stuff.
Yeah. We're left to believe another little jaunt.
Yeah.
A little shenanigan
Yeah.
area.
They
will be
shenan again.
Right. Mm-hmm. So how did you feel about this after not having seen Trigun for so long?
It was so nice.
Yeah.
The only thing that I understand what they did for the movie was, like, the main theme only played at the end, really,
right, at the final bout,
which makes sense.
Oh yeah,
totally makes sense. But it made me miss the theme again. Where I was like, I want to hear the full theme again,
dude. Hair Trigger is one of my favorites.
So good. And it because this was made...
Humanoid Typhoon.
Yeah. Because this was made basically, I think, a decade after the anime was made. Like, there is, like, a little bit different animation style, I think, than, like, but not in a bad way.
You said 2010?
2010.
Fuck, man. It's been A decade and some change.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
The original anime released in 1998, I believe. I'm not sure if that's when it ended, or I think it started then.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it ran for maybe a year or so afterwards into 2000. But this movie was released 10 years after the show was aired, potentially, or more.
Mm-hmm.
And in a good way, the animation shows, I think, a little bit. Not to say that the anime is bad,
right,
but like from this, it looks polished.
Mm-hmm. HD.
And I like it. I think more than anything else, this... Holding up my hand.
All right, yeah. Scout's honor.
Scout's honor.
Mm-hmm.
I
do so solemnly swear.
Hereby promise.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the anime.
Right.
There was just some discrepancies towards the tail end.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I had a fun time watching it as we were going through it.
Right.
I just remember at the end I was sad because I was like, it didn't quite hit. It didn't quite satisfy me like I thought it was because of stuff that was going on.
Now let me pose you this.
Okay.
There are major differences between Vash's brother and Gas Baddad.
Right.
Whereas Vash's brother, what was his fucking name?
I can look it up.
I can't remember. He definitely comes off as this irredeemable sociopath that clearly is too far gone. However, Gas Baddad is clearly, like, at heart, a good person.
Millions Knives.
Okay, damn, dude, what a fucking name.
Yeah.
Right. So,
or also known as Knives.
right. Now, they were taken down in a very similar way. Definitely more bombastic in terms of, like, not that final fight.
Oh, yeah.
Confrontation with knives, dude.
Beautiful.
Holy shit. Easily one of my favorite fights in the show.
So cool.
It's the climax.
Right, of course.
Now, I realize this is what you didn't like about the show. You feel like he should have just straight up killed his brother, right? At that point,
I think that it was I think it was because I may have misunderstood something. I really want to watch it again, to be honest, just to make sure that I fully comprehend what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
It felt a little. I think it was because of the. I understand Vash as a character being built up to that climax. That I feel like there was this disconnect between what I thought his character was and what I think the action was. I think that, yes, I think he saves everyone, but if I'm not mistaken, I think in the show, like, he's trying to stop his brother.
Right. One way or another.
And then it felt like for him to just, like, spare him, it's like you were trying, like, I could be wrong, but that's what I felt like there was a disconnect. And I think it also, because it's also, it is a little comedic, I think, at times. I think it was like, for me, I think it also, he saves his brother. I think they also kind of go right into like it kind of being comedic in a way.
Right.
And I was like, it felt like maybe it was just my own mind, or maybe I misunderstood something, or so. I'm willing for it to be my fault and not the show's fault. And like I said, so maybe it was just I misunderstood something, or I just remember that feeling of like,
dissatisfaction.
It's like we've been building up to this moment, and it felt like it was like the rug got pulled out from underneath me. I was like, it didn't feel like the conclusion I thought it was going to be. It was like, this is what we got built up for. Or like I said, maybe I'm wrong though.
Right.
But I get what you're saying though.
Right. The reason I bring that up is because I see the parallels between like Vash and Knives and Amelia and Gas Baddad, because it's a family matter.
Right.
And of course, from the get-go, she's like solidified and like, I'm going to kill this man. Whereas Vash, of course,
right,
you realize he's still going after Knives, trying to stop him.
Right.
He never says he's going to outright kill him.
Right.
But at one point, like, as it's building up to that final confrontation, it's almost like he's steeled himself to, like, I have to kill my brother.
Right. And maybe it was because Amelia had that revelation moment, which is what changed it for me. Because if I was to think about it, I'm not sure if they had that if Vash had that moment. I'm not sure he would need to or not.
No, he was pretty stable, but as far as like morality goes.
Right.
The only time he ever struggled was after he was forced to kill that one dude, the psychic dude.
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah,
He just ran away to a different town.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah,
that was
changed
that
his
was
fucking
crazy.
name.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think for me, like I get what you're saying, the parallel, and that's why I don't think for me there was a disconnect with Amelia, was because if they didn't have that moment where she had that little scene in the town,
Oh yeah, it would have been totally.
it would have been totally, because then I would have probably had the same feeling where I was like, why is she sparing him now when you've been talking that this whole movie? She's like, I'm gonna kill him, and all of a sudden it's just like, I'm just not going to now. It's like, for me as a human, I'm like, that's not how we. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm like, that's not how people work.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm like, if you're gonna be hyping up killing this person all day long, for you to all of a sudden just be like,
you know
that's
what?
Psychotic behavior.
Psychotic. I mean, it's just an irrational decision.
But what I'm saying is like that
without the like proper context to it, or without like if you just up and decide like, you know what, I've been chasing you so long, I've been just itching to kill you. I'm just gonna not.
I think that's what now, like I said, trust me when I say I'm so willing to be wrong, but I think that's the vibe that I got from it.
Yeah.
And again, because Vash is also kind of a comedic character and is the Bumble King, it probably does fit for him to just be like,
right. Yeah.
And so it may just be a me thing and I'm projecting.
Yeah.
But I definitely, after watching this movie, I was like, this is what I'm talking about.
Now, don't get us wrong. He lights his brother up.
Oh
like,
yeah.
He puts a shot in every major appendage.
Yeah.
Like, motherfuckers are quadriplegic after they're finished.
I'm pretty sure he drags him on the back.
He's carrying on his shoulder. Like, come on.
Yeah. But anyways, I really loved this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I love it as much as I do, not only because of the introduction of the two new characters, or for me, the two new characters of Gas Baddad and Amelia, and their beautiful arc.
Right.
This movie was only an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And you're able to tell this, I mean, I would say a really great story of, betrayal and vengeance and redemption and revelation. It's beautiful. I love it, and it's really cool. And I think it's tipping over that edge of like from a 4-star to a 5-star for me because of the fact that I feel like I'm getting what I didn't get from the show a little bit.
Nice.
Or at least for me. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so I'm watching this and I'm going like,
glad we could get that little bit of fulfillment in there.
Right. And then of course we also got Vash being a badass at the fight sequence and like just doing what he does. It's also funny, and Wolfwood's like there and it's so cool, and it's just
they never left.
I know, right. But everyone gets their time where they're like, hell yeah. And then of course then we get this cool conclusion of the story, and you're like, man.
I completely forgot to mention, whenever a fight breaks out on that steamship that they're riding to town on,
right?
Whenever he first meets Amelia, this dude and his like I want to say just maybe not even his friend, just start yucking it up and try to just force themselves on Amelia,
right.
At
which she's having none of.
Gunpoint and knife point,
yeah.
And of course she's doing a relatively good job of like kicking him around and shit.
Right.
But at one point, Vash like interjects and is like, "Hey, can I use that knife that you dropped to peel the skin off of this Thomas meat I got? I really want to eat it."
Right.
And of course he's like, "No."
Yeah.
It's like, oh
damn.
Okay, fine here. And he just takes the knife back, like, "What the fuck? Who are you?"
What are you?
And he's just
You
like,
idiot.
right. So he goes to stab him, and Vash just like breaks the blade in half, and a piece of it like lands in both of their fucking heads.
Yeah.
Now this doesn't kill them, of course.
No.
But
at first I thought it did. I was like,
I thought so too.
God.
I was like, what the fuck?
He just killed those guys.
So understandably, they're very upset.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude goes to pull out his gun, and he's like, and Vash is like, whoa. And after like struggling, trying to keep him from drawing it for a second, he's like, the dude's like, okay, fine, I get it, just get off.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, really? And then as soon as he's off, he like looks at his gun and goes to draw it. And he's like, no.
It's great.
It's so fucking funny.
I love that. And that's what I'm saying. I think I really enjoyed this movie because of the fact that it hits all the high points of the show.
Oh yeah.
And I think I think it also tells a great story. And there's a wonderful, wonderful story of family.
Oh yeah. definitely enjoyable watch.
It's great stuff. Again, may not be for everyone, but I think for me, because of the baggage that weighs on my heart from the anime,
the weight
that I carry, it meant a lot to me. I think it's really cool.
Good.
So,
I'm so glad.
Yeah. What a great movie. What a fun time.
Oh, yeah.
Fun times was had all around.
As per usual.
As I was saying before, we have a YouTube channel. If you could subscribe, be a part of it, be a part of our team, that'd be awesome. Like I said, Aftermath is every Friday. That's a definite. You can guarantee that. Things you can't guarantee, when about nothing happens. Don't know when it's going to happen, but Ethan will drop those like little special treats every now and then. And then the same thing with playthroughs. Right now, we're trying some new stuff. We got 2 playthroughs on the YouTube channel. If you want to check those out, we got. I almost said the wrong name.
Oh yeah,
we have Metal Slug 1 and Metal Slug 2 playthroughs, which we have on the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
tons of fun.
More to come.
We're in the talks of starting some more playthroughs. So if you're interested in watching some of that, you can go ahead and head over there, being part of all that. So, like I said, if anybody did come back around from that Predator 2 episode,
big
welcome.
Preach.
And
Where'd you come from?
I think it's just you. I think it's the algorithm. The algorithm found them.
Maybe
someone's like, I just want hardcore Predator 2 content, and we were just first on the list.
Wow.
And then of course, for anybody returning, I love you guys. Really means a lot.
Big preach.
You guys are cool. Yeah. Leave us a comment, leave us a like. Appreciate it. And until next week, thank you so much for listening.
See you.
Bye-bye.